Hello everyone. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, then subscribe to this channel. Nelson Mandela, the journey of a freedom fighter and global icon. Nelson Mandela, often referred to as Madiba, was a South African anti-apartheid revolutionary, political leader, and philanthropist. Born on July 18, 1918, Mandela dedicated his life to fighting against the oppressive apartheid regime in South Africa. His tireless efforts to achieve racial equality, justice, and reconciliation have left an indelible mark on the world. Mandela's story is one of resilience, courage, and unwavering commitment to the principles of freedom and human rights. Early life and education. Nelson Mandela was born in the village of Mvezo in the Eastern Cape province of South Africa. His father, Gadla Henry Mfakaniswa, was a chief and a counselor to the monarch, and his mother, Nosekeni Fanny, was one of his father's wives. Mandela was born into the Thembu royal family and was given the name Rolihlala, which means troublemaker in Xhosa. He was later given the name Nelson by a teacher at his primary school, in accordance with the British custom of the time. Mandela's early education took place at local mission schools, where he excelled as a student. He continued his education at the University of Fort Hare, the only residential center of higher learning for Black South Africans at the time. At Fort Hare, Mandela began to develop his political consciousness and leadership skills. However, his studies were interrupted when he was expelled for participating in a student protest. Determined to continue his education, Mandela moved to Johannesburg, where he completed his bachelor's degree through correspondence. He then pursued a law degree at the University of Witwatersrand, where he encountered diverse ideas and people that further shaped his political views. Political activism and the ANC. In Johannesburg, Mandela became increasingly involved in political activism. In 1943, he joined the African National Congress, ANC, an organization dedicated to fighting for the rights of Black South Africans. He quickly rose through the ranks of the ANC, and along with Oliver Tambo and Walter Sisulu, founded the ANC Youth League in 1944. The Youth League advocated for a more radical approach to the struggle against apartheid, emphasizing mass mobilization and nonviolent resistance. Mandela's political activism intensified in the 1950s as the apartheid regime implemented increasingly oppressive policies. He played a key role in organizing the Defiance Campaign against unjust laws, a campaign of civil disobedience that sought to challenge the apartheid system. Despite facing arrest and imprisonment, Mandela remained committed to the cause of liberation and equality. In 1956, Mandela was arrested, along with 155 other activists, and charged with treason. The trial, known as the Treason Trial, lasted for several years, but ultimately ended in acquittal for all defendants. The trial solidified Mandela's reputation as a prominent leader of the anti-apartheid movement and brought international attention to the struggle for freedom in South Africa. Arrest and imprisonment. As the apartheid regime intensified its repression, Mandela and his fellow activists realized that non-violent resistance alone might not be enough to achieve their goals. In 1961, Mandela co-founded the Umkhonto we Sizwe, Spear of the Nation, the armed wing of the ANC. The organization carried out acts of sabotage against government installations and infrastructure to undermine the apartheid regime. In 1962, Mandela was arrested and charged with inciting worker strikes and leaving the country illegally. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison. In 1964, while serving his sentence, Mandela and several other ANC leaders were put on trial again in the infamous Rivonia trial. They were charged with sabotage and conspiracy to overthrow the government. During the trial, Mandela delivered a powerful speech in which he outlined his commitment to the cause of freedom and equality. He famously declared, "I have fought against white domination, and I have fought against black domination. I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society in which all persons live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It is an ideal which I hope to live for and to achieve. But if needs be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die." Mandela was found guilty and sentenced to life imprisonment. He was incarcerated on Robben Island, a notorious prison off the coast of Cape Town, where he would spend the next 18 years of his life. Despite the harsh conditions, Mandela remained resolute and became a symbol of resistance against apartheid. Release and negotiations. In the 1980s, as international pressure mounted on the apartheid regime, there were growing calls for Mandela's release. Protests, economic sanctions, and diplomatic efforts increased the pressure on the South African government to engage in negotiations with the ANC. In 1990, after 27 years in prison, Nelson Mandela was released from Victor Verster prison. His release was met with jubilation and hope, both in South Africa and around the world. Mandela immediately began working towards reconciliation and negotiation, recognizing that a peaceful transition to democracy was essential for the future of the country. Mandela played a crucial role in the negotiations between the ANC and the apartheid government, which eventually led to the dismantling of apartheid and the establishment of a democratic South Africa. His commitment to reconciliation and forgiveness was instrumental in preventing a civil war and fostering a peaceful transition. Presidency and reconciliation. In 1994, Nelson Mandela became South Africa's first black president, following the country's first multiracial elections. His election marked the beginning of a new era of hope and unity in South Africa. As president, Mandela focused on national reconciliation, economic development, and social justice. One of Mandela's most significant achievements as president was the establishment of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, TRC. Chaired by Archbishop Desmond Tutu, the TRC was tasked with investigating human rights abuses committed during the apartheid era and promoting reconciliation between different racial and ethnic groups. Mandela's presidency was marked by efforts to address the deep social and economic inequalities that had resulted from decades of apartheid. He prioritized education, healthcare, and housing, seeking to improve the lives of marginalized communities. Mandela's leadership and vision earned him international acclaim and numerous accolades, including the Nobel Peace Prize in 1993. Legacy and impact. Nelson Mandela retired from politics in 1999, but he continued to be a global advocate for peace, human rights, and social justice. He established the Nelson Mandela Foundation, which focused on addressing issues such as HIV/AIDS, poverty, and education. Mandela's commitment to these causes reflected his lifelong dedication to improving the lives of others. Mandela passed away on December 5, 2013, at the age of 95. His death was met with an outpouring of grief and tributes from leaders and people around the world. Mandela's legacy as a champion of justice, equality, and reconciliation continues to inspire future generations. Nelson Mandela's life and legacy are a testament to the power of courage, resilience, and the pursuit of justice. His unwavering commitment to equality and human rights transformed South Africa and inspired the world. Mandela's leadership and vision continue to serve as a beacon of hope and a reminder of the enduring power of forgiveness and reconciliation. As we reflect on Mandela's extraordinary journey, we are reminded of the importance of standing up for justice and working towards a more equitable and compassionate world. Thank you for watching.